Kuzangpo and welcome to Bhutan This Week. I am Pimladen. Our top stories of the week. His Majesty the King graced the 9th convocation ceremony of the Royal University of Bhutan on Saturday. Bhutan and Thailand signed an agreement on trade and economic cooperation in the presence of the Prime Ministers of the two countries on Thursday. And the government says it has fulfilled 25 of the 34 pledges for the first 100 days. His Majesty the King graced the 9th convocation ceremony of the Royal University of Bhutan on Saturday. The ceremony was held at the Royal Thimphu College in the capital.
His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gilzin were received in a traditional chibral processions. Addressing to the 2011 and 2012 graduates of 9 colleges of the Royal University of Bhutan, His Majesty the King said that it is the responsibilities of the graduates to protect the wisdom accumulated over the years, which is cultural heritage, sovereignty, and to ensure that future generations enjoy continued peace, progress, and prosperity.
Ngachara du gyakab ki lamsul zamla ani danzi tabni ki gyankadi chelu pobil ta toto sunsi ki panae ngachara gyakab di gato to kitong to bidil tab madiwe matun dala phara berura juwa meba ngachara gyakab di gato to the kitong to be jago bachin di gyankade chelu pobil te ta kopchubi gyakab chungku lagadinalo Darilan Nabalangalab Mishibel. Nabalan Naselangalab Mishibel. Chikatu Tamachin, Chikatu Chenumel. The Indere Beru Macharagi Ladizagin to be bedol. The Talepa Macharagi Mitsedinalo Pendi Dubi Gakab di Rango Randugi Mugildi, Dun Dupsup Zogobachin, Digi Chala Zebikable, Chegibe Chashugol.
His Majesty mentioned that the many challenges people of Bhutan will have to prepare for, such as natural disasters, economic crisis, and disharmony.
That Talepa Guzungdil, Dugi Jua the Tipdal, Zombulingi Netang, Deluta Udalu, the Talepagi Nachera Donkagi Lamdi, Ken Sata the G Chatang Siteve Nomel. The anything at Chisemko Jagubdul. The top Maduki Kole Lavachin, Sagiki Kole Lavachin, Labe Mesel. Maradi no some tanto the Jeben Juajiki King in Le Sagelangobel. They must say Neda Mugil, Tamangachero Loto Malang, To Malay, the Tama Potop Te, Nachera Messignam Chusu Coche, Wudu Tanche. His
Majesty said that Bhutanese are good, strong, and capable.
Ngachi dulumbalu bema sup kache mil. Betsup matsup ki member beshimda. Ti bema be ki khaba jimal. Hamangara yabki kablu di tenga pyongka ke gorura choyin ti mi kam mendul. Khechok mendul. Ngachi mitop misa tenga jutope mil. The Tigale Kopsubi Gakab Chungulaga Chinalo. The Name Seme Coachik Dibe Gakab Gi Mount Pinet on the Dindizonile. The two Tarinaba Hub the Lo, Toranga Sachilab Gesa, Bemasup the Kanemil. The Bema Bigi Kabajim. Machisha Samasagi, the Gem Maginji. Naraki sheep disa. Machi Dupsu Sakamatsup Kanemil. Machi Catrail. Machi Dindil. Machi Sampazantotol. Coachibi mi bendigi, Kokop Toba Jintola Metansa. Zanisu, the Kacho Vechajak, Talapa Beru Trotik to be, La Beojin, Taju Beju, Majiki Misedinalo, Ladi, Legimer Besul.
His Majesty awarded the degree certificates in respect of each college to the graduate representative. Over 2,300 graduates attended the 2nd Royal University of Bhutan Joint Convocation. The first was held in 2011. Karmat Singh, BBS News.
The nation observed the 58th birth anniversary of His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo on Monday. His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo was born on November 11, 1955 at the Dichincholing Palace in Thimphu. During His Majesty's reign, Bhutan witnessed unprecedented development and growth, peace, prosperity and stability. November 11th is also observed as the Children's Day and also as the Constitution Day in the country. The students from different schools offered prayers and butter lamps and prayed for the long life of His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo. Coinciding with the birth anniversary of the Fourth Drugyalpo on Monday, Her Majesty the Queen Mother Doji Wangmo Wangchuk launched the second edition of the tribute book titled 11-11-11. The first edition was launched in 2011.
The second edition of 11-11-11 was published to pay tribute to His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo Jigme Wangchuk. The MPC Bhutan Entertainment publication has a collection of felicitations to His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo. It was offered by the members of the royal family, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Ministers, retired and senior government officials. It also includes royal noble decrees and an inspirational speech by His Majesty the Fourth Drugyalpo. The book also has messages from the youths, business communities and the international organizations and Tashimelam by Lams and Rinpoches. Similarly, a DVD on the book was also launched today. Addressing the gathering, the Queen Mother thanked the publisher and the contributors.
Jigme Sengye, we reap the golden harvest of your labor. Glorious Father, like the mighty Himalayas, pure and strong, you are the conscience of the land. Jewel of men, selfless in service all your life, you are omnipresent in our hearts. Your lifetime of giving enrich our lives forever.
Meanwhile, the director of the MPC Bhutan Entertainment Karmachuring said this was his biggest achievement and thanked Her Majesty the Queen Mother for the unprecedented support.
The 3-day-long National Child Justice Conference ended today. The opening of the conference on Wednesday was graced by Her Royal Highness Princess Sonam Dichin Wangchuk, the President of Bhutan National Legal Institute. The conference was held to strengthen child justice system in the country.
During the opening address, Her Royal Highness Princess Sonam Dichin Wangchuk talked on the importance of promoting child rights.
Our country's young population is at the crossroads. It is time that we as parents, as stakeholders, policymakers of this great nation contemplate and then begin uncovering the root causes and finding long-term solutions that meet the hopes and aspirations of our youth and children today.
Her Royal Highness also talked on the important role children play in nation building.
If we are to take our nation from a smooth democratic transition into a future of even greater success, we cannot, without realizing and considering the roles of our children in nation building.
The resident representative of the UNICEF, Shahin Nilofer, said large numbers of children in conflict with law are the socio-economic victims. It also includes children who are denied of their right to education and abandoned by families. She said these children are at a high risk of sexual exploitation, trafficking and involving in substance abuse. She said all stakeholders should work together to strengthen the child justice system. During the conference, participants will share and discuss on the best practices and experiences in dealing with child rights at national and international level. They will discuss on the prevention of juvenile delinquency, prevention of reoffending, reintegration and develop a roadmap for child justice in Bhutan. Shorab Sangmo for BBS News.
Bhutan and Thailand signed an agreement on trade and economic cooperation on Thursday at the Government House in Bangkok, Thailand. The agreement was signed by the Economic Affairs Minister Norbu Wangchuk and the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand in the presence of the two Prime Ministers.
Luncheon Sringtopke was received by the Prime Minister of Thailand, Yingluck Shinawatra, and was presented with the Guard of Honor at the Government House in Bangkok this morning. Following this, Luncheon called on his counterpart and talked about cooperation between the two countries, among others. The Minister of Economic Affairs, Norbu Wangchuk, and the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand signed an agreement on trade and economic cooperation. Prime Minister Shinawatra hosted a luncheon for Luncheon and the Bhutanese delegation at the Government House. Earlier during the day, Luncheon visited the National Monument in Bangkok. Luncheon laid a wreath at the Eternal Flame. Luncheon was presented a Guard of Honor and paid respect to all the fallen soldiers of Thailand. Later, the Prime Minister also visited the museum in honor of the head of Royal Thai Armed Forces. In the afternoon, Luncheon Sringtopke visited Rangsit University and talked to the Bhutanese students studying there. Meanwhile, upon arrival at the Subarnabhumi airport in Bangkok yesterday, Luncheon was received by the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand and was presented a ceremonial Guard of Honor. Luncheon and his delegation will be in Thailand until the 17th. This is the first official visit to Thailand by a Prime Minister of Bhutan. Kampal for Tenzirapke, Sherab Sangmo for BBS News.
Of the total 34 pledges for the first 100 days by the government, 25 pledges have been fulfilled, while 9 are partially fulfilled, said the Prime Minister at a press conference on Tuesday. Doing away with the preliminary examinations for the graduates, extension of maternity leave for the working mothers, lottery to be restarted, and providing women quota and employment are said to be work in progress.
The Kelang Mapale, Tengachigi Takuma Sumidi, the Mindu Seshuni. The Jachalebo, the Kelang Jacha Jidechi, the Tenda Dupsuchi, the Ani Tenda Dupsumidia, the Totora, Macharagi, Myonga the Mochegi, the Kalop da Lamdun, Zam, Namle Tembika, the Namisami Japture Zenai Seshuni. Demase Macharagi Shiopsu, the Shiopsu the Lu, Machil Henka Kagi Shiopta, the Led Machil Satim Chengi, Sukdegi Shiop, Lezen Kagi Shiop, the Led Zonka Kagi, Zonka Dakchungi, the Shiopsugi, the Japture.
Also at the press conference, Prime Minister Sringtopke said Bhutan lottery business will resume soon. He said works to restart the business are already underway. Reviving Bhutan lottery business is among the PDP's 100 days pledges.
Chokzin, lottery gi, the Ladia, the Gotunibe, the Kelang Bay, the Goturi Seshuni, the Najet, Nusil Henkagi Hotole, the Mapat. Lottery gi, Hema Yubigi, the Shokzin gi, Lekundi, the Godamdi, Chamezodi, Irung Achigi Hotole, the Gupinsu, Nuzin Bedigibe, the Lottery gi, Ladi Gupinsugi, Tatu, Shipchigi Ladi Kongi Bevigayu, Ani, Juduchi, the Najet, Jagajuna Chika Sundinani Seshuni.
The Bhutan lottery was closed down in 2011 following media reports of scam in the business. Bhutan Lottery, the sole government agency responsible for lottery business in the country, was in operation since 1987. It was one of the highest revenue generators in the country. The by-election for the Nanung Shumar constituency in Pemba was held last Saturday. Drukfinsum Sopa's candidate, Dechin Zangmo, won the election by securing 1,751 votes. People's Democratic Party's candidate Pema Wangchuk secured 1,162 votes in the EVM. 1,595 voters voted for DPT, while 1,037 voted for PDP. In the postal ballot, DPT secured 156 votes, while PDP secured only 125. Dechin Zangmo is the first elected female member of the parliament from the opposition party. Of the total 8,277 eligible voters in the constituency, 2,913 turned up to vote. However, the by-election saw a decrease in both the postal ballot and EVM voter turnout. Like in the past elections, female voters dominated the male voters in today's by-election. A 25-year-old man was arrested early Wednesday morning for smuggling tobacco products. The police confiscated 6 packs of chewing tobacco worth over 70,000 niltrim. The man, who is from Sirang, was apprehended when police noticed him driving suspiciously at Chubachu in Thimphu. He was arrested during the normal patrolling. The Pemagasal Zonka court sentenced 12 men for the murder of a man suspected to have been involved in Chorten vandalism on Thursday. The murder happened in Dagur village under Shumargeok on the 9th of May this year. The 12 men have been given prison terms ranging from 2 to 9 months. One man in his 50s has been sentenced to 9 months and the rest to 2 months. The same man will have to compensate the family of the deceased the expenses incurred for the funeral. He has to pay 34,300 niltrim to the family. Can religion be a solution to the country's mounting waste management issue? Songsar Jamyang Khensa Rinpoche says waste management has equal merit to offering 100 butter lamps.
Apart from being a great Buddhist teacher, Songsar Jamyang Khensa Rinpoche is well known for his concern for the environment. Zero Waste Project under the Samjongkar initiative is one of the Rinpoche's waste management initiatives. During the Drupchant held in Singejong last month, Rinpoche initiated a group of volunteers to take care of the waste. As thousands of devotees flocked to Singejong, Rinpoche was concerned about the waste generated by the people.
Generally in Buddhism, and especially in the Tantric Buddhism which we practice here, we value something called a sacred outlook. Sacred, taknang we call it, like sacred outlook, so important. Now even though we may not be able to practice this really in depth from our heart, at the least we should try to keep our surroundings sacred and clean and beautiful, so on and so forth. And I've been told that there are a lot of things that we use which are very harmful and harmful to ourselves and harmful to the environment.
Apart from protecting environment, one can gain merit by managing our own waste from the religious point of view. Waste management is like offering hundreds of butter lamps, according to Rinpoche.
I would say, especially if you come to not only the Sangezong, Parotaksang, Bumthang, wherever, if you really not only sort of mindlessly use these plastics or whatever, but even if you find someone else doing it and has done it, if you collect them, if you really protect the place, I would say it has an equal amount of merit like doing hundreds and hundreds of prostrations and hundreds of butter lamps.
Meanwhile, the wastes collected in Singejong were transported all the way to Samjongkar to be disposed. Pemanamge, BBS News, Kanglung.
14th November was the World Diabetes Day in Bhutan. The day was observed at the Jigme Dojo Wangchuk National Referral Hospital. Free medical checkups and an awareness program were organized at the hospital by the Royal Institute of Health Sciences. This was supported by the World Diabetes Foundation. Diabetes is among the leading causes of death in the most developing countries. Almost 3.8 million deaths are attributable to diabetes annually. In Thimphu alone, 3,000 8,000 cases of diabetes have been registered so far, and it is believed that at least 8,000 more are undiagnosed. Diabetes is a serious lifestyle disease, with a patient becoming vulnerable not only to kidney failure, but heart attacks and also blindness. That's all we have for you this week. Do join us next Saturday for another edition of Bhutan This Week. Thank you for watching.